What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back for another Game of Thrones Season 8 prediction video. I made a video the other day where I listed several of the characters that I believe will survive the Game of Thrones, so today I'm going to continue that list by naming a handful of other characters that will survive this deadly game, in my opinion. Before I get into my predictions, I just have to thank all of you first, because today I'm actually celebrating the 1-year anniversary of this channel. 1 year ago on October 17th, 2016, that's when I sat down and finally decided I was going to create my own Game of Thrones channel. I was actually introduced to the Game of Thrones television series a little bit later than most people, and when I think back to when I first started watching this great show, I wish I had gave it a chance sooner, because I had no idea how fascinating it would be and what kind of an impact it would have on me and most likely everyone watching this video. I personally became addicted almost immediately, and I fully immersed myself into this world and online community shortly after that, where an entire new outlook on the series began. When I first started watching this series for the first time, I had no idea there was an entire community online that had already been talking about this series and books for years, and even decades on some older message boards. But I really have to thank the person who started the whole R+L=J theory, because that was the first one I had ever heard about. And that was the first theory that interested me enough to get online and look further into it for myself, and that's where I stumbled across people making YouTube videos about that theory, and literally every other theory you can think of. And trust me, when you think you have a new theory that you created on your own, you can usually find it already out there somewhere posted on some random blog. But after watching dozens of other videos and reading hundreds of other articles, I fell in love with the online community, and I said to myself, you know what? Now it's time to make my own channel and start talking about the things that interest me. And when I made my channel 1 year ago today, I could have never imagined it would have turned into what it is now. When I made my first video, I was wondering if anybody would ever be able to even find it, let alone watch them and like them. But now, 1 year later, and here I am with over 200,000 subscribers and over 50 million views. My videos have been watched over 50 million times, and that just blows my mind, so thank you to everyone that has supported me over this past year, because it truly does mean a lot to me, and that's the main reason why I continue to make videos as much as I do. It really does feel good when somebody leaves a comment saying that they love your video or they can't wait to see your next one, so I appreciate that, and hopefully you will continue to watch for the next year. But now let's get into today's topic. Like I said at the beginning of this video, I want to continue the list of characters that I believe will survive the entire series. If you did not see part 1, I will put the link down in the description of this video, that way you can go see which other characters I think will make it out of this game alive. But today I want to start the list off with everyone's favorite knight, the Onion Knight, Sir Davos Seaworth. Let's be honest here, who doesn't love this character? You would have to be one cold-hearted person to hate Davos. And it's that love for this character that kind of makes me nervous, because if Davos died, it would be absolutely heartbreaking. I think he's one of the most genuine characters in this series, and although he's not the best fighter, I do think he will survive the Great War. I think Davos kind of falls in line with the cripples, bastards, and broken things, which is one of the reasons why I think he will live. I actually made a video several months ago before Season 7 even started, and that video was about the cripples, bastards, and broken things, and how I thought they would be the characters to survive and make the world a better place in the future. These were the characters that were getting shit on their entire lives, and these were the type of characters that no one would have ever thought they would do anything special. But in the end, I truly believe they will be the difference makers, and actually they already have. Tyrion Lannister once said that he had a soft spot in his heart for cripples, bastards, and broken things, but I believe it's actually George R.R. Martin who has the soft spot in his heart for these characters, which is why they ended up being some of the most beloved and important characters in the series. I actually wouldn't be surprised if George Martin felt this way himself when he was growing up. He was probably never looked at as one of the cool kids in school because he was a nerd who loved science fiction and fantasy and stuff like that. But he has created a story that has made characters like himself very important to the story, just like with Samwell Tarly. Sam was always overweight and getting picked on, even by his father who wanted him dead, but now Sam has become a very important player when it comes to saving the entire realm. No one is ever going to look at Sam like he's the star quarterback leading the men onto the battlefield with a sword in his hand, kinda like Jon, but he knows when to stay in his lane, which is hitting the books, just like Tyrion. Tyrion also said a mind needs books like a sword needs a whetstone. And what did Sam do before he left the Citadel? He snatched all kinds of books and documents that he knew would help them during the long night. And just like he has done on several occasions, he will find the information they need that's going to be just as important as a great swordsman is on the battlefield. This is what I love about this story and show, because almost every character has a role to play, no matter how big or small you are. I'm sure people thought Bran Stark would be stuck in his bed for the rest of his life as a cripple, but look at how important his character has become now. And even Tyrion was only looked at as the despicable imp who was drinking and whoring his way through life. But he has now risen to Hand of the Queen, a title that he had to earn. And I think Davos falls right in line with these type of characters. Davos was an illiterate smuggler that was missing half of his fingers on one hand, but now he is pretty much Hand of the King for the second time. Davos might not be the kind of character that's going to kill a White Walker, but it's his counsel that's just as crucial. I think his knack for survival will continue, and he will be another character that is perfect for helping restore some sort of order after the wars are over. Podrick Payne is another character that I believe will survive this series too. Podrick has been a squire for years that no one really gave a shit about besides Tyrion and now Brienne. He could barely defend himself, but he saved Tyrion's life during the Battle of Blackwater Bay. But now he's spending all of his time with one of the greatest fighters in the Seven Kingdoms. They have shown us Podrick training with Brienne on multiple occasions, and I believe they have been showing us this for a reason. Podrick might not look like he's getting better because Brienne is still kicking his ass, but I bet Podrick is becoming a good swordsman. And when the time comes, I think he will step up and do something people wouldn't expect. I believe Podrick will end up killing a White Walker, or he will end up saving someone else's life during the Great War. You have to assume Podrick has been training this entire time, but they can't show us that in every single episode. But now that Jon has all the dragonglass he needs, everyone in Winterfell will be able to have a White Walker killing weapon if they need it. I expect there to be a means to an end since they continue to show us training scenes with Podrick, and he will defend himself quite well when it's time, and this will help keep him alive. One of the Greyjoys have to survive this series as well. I believe someone from each major house will survive to further the line, but this one is a little harder to pin down because I can make a case for either Yara or Theon. Unfortunately for Theon, he can no longer reproduce, and he's going to have to put his life on the line once again in order to save his sister. So Theon is the one most likely to die, but Yara is already a prisoner of one of the biggest psychopaths in this show, Euron Greyjoy. She could potentially die at any moment, but I strongly believe Euron Greyjoy will die and Theon should play some kind of role in that. But Theon may die in the process, so if I have to pick which of the Greyjoys will live, I'm gonna have to gamble and say Yara Greyjoy will be the one to live, even though she currently has the worst odds against her because Euron could kill her before Theon even gets there. But I'm gonna stick with this for now. Theon will die saving his sister, but Theon will be remembered as someone who didn't die as a coward. And if Yara ever has a son, she can name him Theon Greyjoy. I'm pretty sure Lyanna Mormont will survive also. I don't really have a theory about why I think she will live either, I just don't see them killing off this character right now. I think Lyanna Mormont has become too much of a fan favorite at this point, and I know that doesn't mean a character is safe just because they are a fan favorite, because they have killed many of them off before. But as of right now, Lyanna Mormont does feel like she's a safe bet. She's a strong character from a great northern house, although it is a smaller house, but she can further her family name also. And when this series ends, there needs to be some kind of hope for the future. You can't have all these great houses go extinct by killing off too many characters or the ending is going to be just bitter, but this is just my dumb opinion. There are 2 more characters I want to add on this list in this video, and I'm going to admit I'm taking an even bigger gamble saying both of these characters are going to live. Because I could easily see either one of them having to sacrifice themselves in order to end the Great War, but I want to go in the opposite direction of some of the bigger theories out there. So I'm now going to go on record and say Jon Snow and Bran Stark will live. And I know some people are probably going to say I'm an idiot for saying that, but I now believe they're both going to live. I started to think to myself, how are they going to end this series? Are they going to allow Jon and Daenerys to live, or are they going to kill both of them off? Personally, I think one of them will live and one of them will die. Now, I know some people don't believe Daenerys will die because this show is all about feminism and Daenerys is Dan and Day's favorite character and yada yada yada, but I disagree. Daenerys Targaryen will die and Jon Snow will live. Daenerys said she was born to rule the 7 kingdoms and that's really all she's wanted to do, but in the end she never will. Just like she saw in her vision, she will never touch the Iron Throne, and the snow that was falling on the throne has always meant Jon Snow was the rightful ruler in front of her. Jon Snow doesn't give two shits about being king or sitting on the Iron Throne, but in the end, he will be the rightful ruler of the kingdoms. But I believe he will distribute the power amongst several people, with each kingdom having its own independence. In the end, Daenerys' dragons won't have even mattered because it's not going to get her the throne, and the bastard that was looked down on was the one born to rule the entire time. And when he is finally in position to do the right thing with the power that he has, nearly every character we have come to know will be dead. I do believe the wheel will be broken, but Daenerys won't be around to see it in place as she had envisioned. Tyrion foreshadowed this during Season 7. It's actually been foreshadowed more than enough times for me to believe that Daenerys is going to die, and I thought for a long time that Jon would end up sacrificing himself to save the realm. But I actually think he will live. The Lord of Light didn't bring him back just to kill him again. But hey, what do I know? I do have more that I want to say about this, but it would take another 10 minutes for me to say it right, so maybe I'll save that for another video, but I feel the same way about Bran Stark now too. I think there is a very good chance we could see the end of magic, but I don't necessarily believe that means Bran has to die. There are some convincing theories out there that say Bran will actually have to sacrifice himself to the Night King in order to stop him, but I disagree. Obviously, it's not going to be easy to kill the Night King, but I don't think it's going to take some kind of sacrifice to achieve this. Bran might lose his green sight after the Night King is defeated, but I doubt it's going to cause him to die because of it. But I have to say, I would not have made some of these predictions just a few seasons ago, but the show now feels like it's going in a different direction. Even though Dan and Dave know how the books are going to end, I don't think the show is going to end on the same note. It's probably going to be very similar, but they're going to have two entirely different impacts on the community. After watching Season 7, things don't feel quite the same, but I don't want to ramble, so I'll just end the video right here. Feel free to leave your questions, thoughts, or opinions down below in the comments. Once again, thank you all for the support this past year because I really do appreciate that, especially to all of you who stick around during the long night when the show is off the air. You are the hardcore fans that I love, and I hope you all have a great day. I will see you in the next one. Bye.